Tormo, who created a painting called The Visitation. It's a classical theme of when Mary comes to visit her sister Elizabeth when she finds out she's pregnant. I began to think about particularly the social aspect of the work as opposed to the religious theme in the work, and that is this sort of a greeting where two people are coming together. And then I began thinking in my own life about meeting people. I began to think about people I've seen greeting. You're at an airport, you know, those moments when you're in an airport and you turn around and there's two people who obviously haven't seen each other in a while, and there's that magic of just happens every moment in every airport in the world. People are getting off on and off planes, and there's that the kind of poignancy of the goodbyes and the poignancies of the greetings happening all the time around us. I distilled from the three figures out of the painting these kind of three generic figures here, and I just literally, with tracing paper, began to place them in this kind of hypothetical space. Then I started working with Dennis Kitely, who is an art director. He got these Star Trek figures, but he went out and bought these little figures. And my kids loved this, by the way. They saw that. They thought I was finally doing some really, really cool stuff. He went out and got these little, toy figures and actually started building these little models and putting them in there and photographing them so we could figure out what kind of lens we had to use on the camera. Going to continue talking. And don't worry about when it's going to end, okay? There will be a gust of wind We're using a very special camera with high-speed film capable of recording at 300 frames a second. We're going to record 45 seconds of real time of these women interacting with each other, and we're going to end up with over 10 minutes of material.
Yeah, lose the brace and move the mirror.
It took us, several days to light it, to get the kind of shadows and stuff that I wanted. And it is very pain relieving. There are a lot of unknowns. I don't know what's going to happen when the camera rolls exactly.
If this was shifted over, we want to see her cover this.
I don't want to micromanage this thing because I want the kind of energy of the moment to come through. The process of collaboration is something that is unusual for me. I tend to really work alone. And people add things and add ideas, and it's really kind of wonderful. As with all of my work, Kira has really been essential to me. We share our lives together, and we also share this work together.
Maybe a little less of this wall.
You've got exactly half. This is like almost...
She's the manager of the whole operation, and at the same time, she's really my most important critic.
Okay, and roll camera.
It's an intense situation, and you can feel it when the camera rolls. Everybody's like right there. If we forget something, it could mean a disaster. Something might have to be reshot.
Okay, cut the fog. Thank you.
Great.
This high-speed film played back at normal speed gives you this extended, what we call slow motion kind of image. This touching point between people became the real focal point of that magic moment which all paintings suggest but can never actually reproduce because they can't create time, they can't embody time. Okay, cut. We finished the recordings of the greeting. I looked at them, I realized I had something that I could use, and I sort of put it away mentally.
Okay, I was just wondering if you were going to deal with that, if you wanted me to. Well, I think that's fine. My part is gathering together the elements that will make the installation happen. I have to make sure that all the crates with all of the elements, are being shipped, that they arrive, that the screens arrive, that everything is functioning, working properly.
My production schedule got delayed for various reasons, and I was really behind, so the time was really a big crunch, and so I put the greeting aside and started working on these other pieces.
The plane with the crates landed in Milano, and then they were hoisted onto these barges, basically, and sent, down the Grand Canal to the Giardini, where the pavilions are.
I started having these thoughts about the greeting, but I wasn't really, I wasn't at peace with it, I hadn't really connected with it.
The greeting space is beautiful. It's a wonderful sized room. The ceiling height, everything. I've already, I've installed the speakers. They look great. I'm basically waiting for the projector.
3 weeks before Venice, this isn't working, this is terrible. And I think ultimately it was about my lack of feeling that I had connected the image with a real space.
We were down to a week before the show opened, and I was getting a little nervous.
I started working with this image. I started trying it in different sizes.
So I kept on saying, show the piece big.
2.5 weeks before the show is going to open, the greeting now is a 16-inch high by 11-inch wide image on a wooden table projected from the rear. It's this little thing,
I realized Bill he's in the studio. He's been living there for the past 10 days, basically. He's working 24 hours a day on these works.
I caught myself and I just said, wait a second, you had it. There was a reason why you said that screen was going to be that big. There's a reason why you said it was just going to be an image in a room, like on that scale, in that way. Just do it. I was like, ooh, okay, I'm not convinced, Bill. And the other Bill said, just do it. I arrived in Venice 4 days before the opening of the Biennale, and literally worked around the clock to install the works. The exhibition I've created is called Buried Secrets. 5 new works, including the greeting. We finished at 6 o'clock in the morning, the day of the opening. The public was coming in at 10. And so in the wee hours of the morning, as each individual piece got finished one by one, and I put the finishing touches on and the fine tuning, that's when I saw the work for the first time in my life. Well, I'd have to say that the greeting was the piece that I was most uncertain about. I thought it was not emotional at all. That was one of my concerns, that it didn't have this kind of depth. And then when I saw it at the end of the first day, then I really saw it, and I didn't have the pressure of the opening on anymore. The sound was on at that point. I realized I had been working with the greeting for all that time and being concerned about whether it was going to work or not without any audio on it. And the sound, of course, anchors the whole piece, absolutely essential, makes it what it is.
I've never done this before.
Well, I never have either. I feel like a baseball player. It's great.
It seems like the greeting here in Venice is proving to be the most popular work. This is a surprise to both Bill and myself because I think that piece, more than any other of these works, was the most obscure in terms of its, the meaning for us was hidden for a long time.
What's so amazing, it just goes to show that there's something in you that's making this work, almost regardless of what you, quote unquote, are doing up here on the surface, you know?
I think people are responding to the warmth in it, the gesture, the embrace.
You have to be just as creative to view a work of art and appreciate a work of art as you do to make it. The whole point of the greeting is the fact that you don't really know the relationship between these women, you don't really know all the details, and so your interpretation becomes the interpretation of the work. You know, you got into her thing, she's brought you a problem, it's gonna be okay, comfort, we're gonna talk about it later, and then the kind of cloud of ambiguity that the work surrounds, which I was aware that I needed to preserve through the entire creative process. So that's your character's sort of little glitch. Everybody's got a little glitch. That becomes the essential part, and that's what I'm really concerned about. Okay, Peter, they are going to be in conversation when we're rolling up. What you take home from any art experience is yours. It's about you and the work, one to one.